What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another great episode of Tough Calls with Symone.
And your boy Dylan, yeller.
The Last Dance edition, episode 5 and 6. Let's get into the drama.
Let's get it.
Let's talk about the 1992 Olympic team.
The formation of the dream team, but there was somebody who was a little salty, and there was a little bit of controversy of this certain player.
Same guy who's been salty during the whole documentary.
Off the team, that is IT, the first IT, Isiah Thomas, and oh boy, got a little juicy on there again. Some more drama involving Isiah Thomas.
So basically, Isiah Thomas said, I met all the criteria.
I was a back-to-back champion.
But for some reason, I wasn't on the team. Because they ain't like you, bro.
They ain't want to play with you.
They ain't want to play with you.
One play, period.
And the thing that's crazy, all the other guys got along.
Yeah.
Magic got along with Michael. Charles got along with Michael.
Larry got along with Michael.
Besides Larry, 3 dudes with big personalities. Michael has a big personality. Magic has a big personality. And Charles Barkley has a big personality. So if those 3 dudes with their own big personalities could get along, it was you, Isiah Thomas. You're the common denominator, buddy.
It was not them. It was you.
Your own coach.
Chuck, that's true. That's such a good point.
Your own
Chuck
coach.
Daly, the own dude that coached you, kept you off the team, bro. It was you, dog. It was you. I'm sorry.
How you can blame it on it was Michael, he didn't want me on the team, but your own coach, wouldn't his loyalty ties be to you?
And then and they talked about it in the documentary, they said a lot of it went towards Michael, saying that Michael was the main person who kept Isiah off the team, which I don't think it was true. I think it was a little bit of everybody. You had your own beef with Magic, you had your own beef with Charles, you had your own beef with Scotty. You had your own beef with Scotty, and then of course you had your own beef with Michael. A lot of the heat went to Michael, but it was because you was beefing with everybody. Nobody wanted to play with you. They just didn't like your playing style, how you and the Pistons played so crazily reckless while y'all were at the top.
Exactly. Now there was some more drama on that Olympic team, but it wasn't on the team. It was who the team was playing against. Let's get into that.
All right. So obviously, the Dream Team was blowing everybody out. Nobody was the competition. But there was one team who slightly stacked up against the 92 Dream Team, which was the Croatian team led by none other than Toni Kukoc, who would go on to be a draft pick by Jerry Krause and those Chicago Bulls and be a teammate of Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen. Now, Scottie and Michael had heard the noise and heard Jerry drooling and salivating over Toni Kukoc, which you already know the beef between Jerry and Scottie. They didn't get along, and
Scottie said if he's gonna pay anybody, it's gonna be me.
Exactly. Okay. And Magic said the same thing. Magic said if anybody gonna get paid on the Chicago Bulls, it need to be Scottie Pippen, which is straight facts. So,
but Jerry thought that Kukoc was gonna be the face of the Bulls team. Now you have the face of sports on your team. Who are you, Jerry, to be saying that somebody else coming in is going to be the face of the team? Mind
you, he is talking about Toni Kukoc is going to be the face of the next face of Chicago Bulls. When Jordan and Scottie were in the heat of their prime, we heard Michael Wilbon talking about, everybody has always said the 96 Bulls were the best team in basketball. Michael Wilbon was on the documentary saying he thought the 92 Bulls were the best team. So back in 1992, you're talking about Toni Kukoc is going to be the next face of the Chicago Bulls. Why Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen, the 2 best players on your team, you're talking about Toni Kukoc, a whole different player who hasn't even played in the NBA yet, is going to be the next best player when your 2 best players, the greatest player of all time, is still in his prime and the team is in their prime coming off a championship, and you're already talking about the next phase? How dare you? How dare you?
All I heard was prime, greatest, 2 best, prime, greatest, 2 best, prime, greatest, 2 best, prime.
Anywho. Okay. So, anyways, it was fun to see in the documentary. It wasn't really, it was personal, but it was not personal. They needed somebody to take their hatred out on the Jerry Krause. So Toni Kukoc ended up being the guy because he was the guy that Jerry was targeting. And man, they put that work on Toni Kukoc the first time.
They ain't let up on that boy.
But I give respect to Toni Kukoc though, because he did come back in the gold medal game and he did earn their respect a little bit. He didn't back down that second game. That first game, he didn't know what to do. That boy was shook.
let's talk about Michael Jordan's relationship with the media.
Oof.
Okay, so obviously Michael Jordan was the it boy back then, on and off the court. So everybody in town wanted to get a photo, get a quote, get everything from him.
Exactly.
So basically, Michael Jordan was caught up in a scandal, you know, with his gambling. They didn't go deep into it in the video, so we're not really gonna go deep into it now because they basically, you know, cleared his name. He said he didn't have a gambling problem. If he had a gambling problem, he wouldn't have a house. He wouldn't have this icy watch on his wrist.
The rolling.
He would have that icy drip because he would have gambled it away. So basically he got caught up with some bad dudes, but he was like, I didn't know they were bad dudes. I was just on the golf course, you know, trying to gamble.
Right.
I didn't know who I was getting caught up with. So the media was all up in Mike's face, and Mike pretty much just got over the media. And we can really see that now because now you don't see Michael Jordan anywhere. And in the documentary, he basically said, like they said, he went on a 2-week drought where he wouldn't talk to the media, which was a bigger deal back then because guys didn't have social medias where they can go and, you know, make their statements on their own. They had to make statements through the media.
Right.
So now we see Michael Jordan was fed up because you don't see Michael Jordan anywhere now. You don't hear nothing from him. It's crickets from his way.
Exactly. He don't be trying to talk to nobody, get out there no type of way. Michael
Jordan, be on no commercials.
Exactly.
Magic Johnson is on ESPN talking every other week. Charles Barkley, we hear him talking all the time.
On TNT, obviously.
Right. You don't see nothing from
Shaq
Michael.
all over the darn place.
Yeah. You don't hear them dudes he was rolling with. You see them all over the place, a meme, tweeting, saying everything. You don't hear Mike unless it's a UNC championship game or a funeral. You ain't gonna see Mike nowhere, boy.
And I feel like Magic Johnson really alluded to something here. He said in the documentary, he said he was talking about the media saying, if you guys keep this up, you guys are gonna run him out the game. And I think that is actually a real part of the reason why he stepped away from the game a little bit, maybe to get away from that media and give himself a little bit of a break from, you know, all that foolishness he was dealing with in the media. It was no longer just basketball to him. He kept saying he just wanted to be a basketball player. That's it. While, you know, he obviously knew it was going to be more than that. I don't think he expected to be that much. And I think he was really emotionally drained from it. And that's why he ended up stepping away for a little bit.
Right. We don't see Mike anywhere, okay? No commercials.
Nothing.
No promos. Not even promoting the documentary.
The essence of minding his business.
You don't even hear him, oh, I got this new doc coming out. Nothing.
And he doesn't even have social media or anything like that. Now he like, I'm good on y'all.
Off the grid.
Off the grid.
Big
way
move.
off. No bloopers, nothing.
Big move.
Big move.
Can we talk about this?
Oh man, I can't wait to see all the memes. Hey, Gus, CT. That was classic. That had to be the
security
funniest
guards,
part.
though, I don't know if y'all ever worked in sports, but security guards be the most goofiest. They be the goofiest.
They really think they be doing something, but they really the
think
goofiest dudes.
you know, what's it called? The people, they really think they, the people that protect the president. Secret Service.
Yeah.
They really think they're Secret Service.
Exactly.
They be having so dead, holding down their door, manning their door, boy.
Right. But that was definitely the funniest part of the documentary.
Literally. That was the funniest part of the whole documentary.
Right.
But speaking of funny, I didn't know Michael Jordan was funny.
Michael Jordan was so
had to be weak, y'all.
funny. So let's go back to the Olympics for a little bit and get to what we're alluding to, him being funny. So Reebok really did try to do Michael Jordan dirty. And I wouldn't say it was necessarily trying to do him dirty personally, but they were just being selfish. So
I ain't mad at Reebok. They were opportunists.
They were being opportunists, but they had to understand where Michael Jordan was coming from. And I think the consequences they were
Reebok said if we could get one photo of Mike and Reebok.
But I think that was, I say it's selfish because they had to understand if Michael Jordan wasn't going to do it, they had to understand. I think the consequence they laid out, which was if they don't have the Reebok logo showing, then they couldn't accept their gold medals like on the podium and all that stuff, which is crazy. If a guy is signed to a different company, like Michael Jordan was with Nike, or if somebody with Adidas, you can't expect them. They have contracts to wear nothing but Nike, to show nothing but Nike.
Reebok said.
And that's unfair though. Like for Reebok to be that selfish.
Way around.
And he did, and that was the funny part. So when he put the American flag over his shoulder to cover up the Reebok, and then we got his gold medal, he was like, like he worked his way around it. It was too funny. His facial expression, he was like a little bad kid that got away with something.
He's just funny, period. All his sound bites hilarious. So in 1990, Harvey Gantt was running for senator of North Carolina, and he was a black man. They haven't had a black senator to this day.
Right.
Michael Jordan, with all his fame, all his clout, had a chance to endorse a brother.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
He had the chance to endorse a brother in his home state. Mind you, he's from North Carolina, born and raised. Y'all, take your shut out.
Moving on. You hold it back in.
He had the chance to endorse a brother, just like, can you move your head for a minute so they can see? Just like LeBron James had the chance to endorse the first black president of the United States, Obama, who is shown in this video. He had a chance to endorse history, endorse the first black president. Michael Jordan had the chance to endorse the first black senator, okay, in his home state. That would have been spoke so much to the community, the black community that buys his shoes and watches his games and buys all of his apparel and all that, buys his posters. But he said, you know, I'm just a basketball player. I don't want to get caught up in politics. But my thing is, you're not just a basketball player anymore. You're a businessman now. Once you decided to sell shoes and once you decided to sell your image and your likeliness, now you're selling that stuff. They had Spike Lee producing the Nike commercials for him, which means they were catering towards the black community. Exactly. So once you started catering and selling and marketing to the black community, that is your community now. You want us to buy your stuff. You want to sell to the culture. That culture needs you to endorse a black man and not the, you know, seemingly racist guy. I don't know exactly what he said, but he had some racist comments. The guy that was running against him.
Jesse Helms.
Yes, and Michael Jordan says Republicans buy shoes too.
He supposedly said that. He
said it. He said he just said it to his friends.
Oh, okay.
But you still said it. Period. And I don't like that because, I mean, everybody has their opinions of what they want out of their athletes, but my thing is, once you start selling stuff to the people, once you want people to look up to you and all of that, and I don't know if he wants people to look up to him.
He said he did it.
But you were selling stuff to the community. Right. So that community that you want to buy your shoes and buy into your image is a community that needs you to step up for the culture. Period. We've seen it with LeBron James several times. Okay? He spoke out when Trayvon Martin was murdered. He spoke out for Barack Obama. He speaks out for the black community every other day. Period. And that's why he is the overall king. Okay? What's your opinion?
My opinion on it is, I do think Michael Jordan should have taken a chance to stand up for his right. I get that you didn't want to compromise your bag, but I don't think you would have compromised it.
Sometimes it's things that's bigger than a bag.
Exactly. You still would have had your bag. Your NBA bag was secured either way because you was the GOAT and nobody can take that away from you. Your shoe bag still would have been fine. Even if you would have lost some of that Republican money,
and
you would have got even more.
Bunkin that would have been upset about him endorsing him weren't buying Jordans anyway.
Exactly. And just because you endorse one person doesn't mean that the other people would have hated you. They would have just been like, oh, okay, he's endorsing him. Like, I don't think it would have been that big of a deal. I just don't think that many people would have stepped away from buying your shoes. People still would have bought your shoes. Your shoes still would have been selling out in seconds like they do today. I don't think you would have lost that much money. And for him to think that, I just think that was real close-minded of him. I just think it was really selfish. Like, we saw in the documentary the whole be like Mike, be like Mike, be like Mike thing. And even though if you didn't want to be a role model, that's the shoes you stepped in. Like you said.
You wanted to be a role model the minute you started doing those commercials, be like Mike, doing commercials with kids in the community. And then that's when you were more than an athlete. If you just want to keep it on the basketball court, then fine. We don't want to see you anywhere else, period. But we see you all over everywhere. Right. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. If you're going to be all over on one scene, you got to be all over on the scene when it matters.
Exactly.
Do you know what I'm saying?
You can't pick and choose what you want to be, what you want to do. Once you step out into that light, you got to stay in that light through thick and thin. You got to step into that light when you got to stand up for what's right. You got to step out into that light when you may have an unpopular opinion, but you know it's the right thing to do.
Craig Hodges, one of his teammates that was active in social justice, was really, Jamel Hill said one of the first Colin Kaepernicks because he got blackballed from the NBA when he was speaking out. Right. You know what I'm saying? So that's when you really, kind of just see the guys that you appreciate for on the court and the guys you appreciate for their all around.
Exactly.
You know, great.
Alright guys, that is it for this video. Let us know what you thought of episodes 5 and 6. Did you think we didn't really dabble in this much because they didn't dabble in it much in the documentary? Did you think Horace Grant was a snitch?
Was he snitching?
Do you think he was the only one talking? Do you think he was the only one wearing a wire? Telling people what was going on.
Hold on, MJ. Say that again, MJ.
Say it again a little louder.
To my chest.
You said what? You said what out, MJ?
Can you say it right here? Can you say it in this necklace?
Right. But y'all think Horace Grant was snitching to the people?
Horace said, I never snitched.
Do y'all think Horace Grant was the main contributor to the Jordan rules?
I can't believe that man cashed out in that book. I can't believe they didn't get his head.
Sam Smith got that bag, boy.
Right, he was around the locker room like a little fed boy.
Exactly.
Watching the locker room.
A little rat. Right. Oh, MJ just said this. Okay.
MJ just said this, putting this whole book together, smiling in their faces like.
Oh, man.
Anyway, guys, like, comment, subscribe,
All right,
yada,
stuff.
yada,